I'm about to show you how you become the king of Thanksgiving with the best dish there is to make. White Castle stuffing. I know what you're thinking, it's gonna be terrible. Ooh, there's no way I wanna make it. My in-laws said the same thing the first time I made this. I gotta tell you, the first time I ever met my in-laws was at Thanksgiving, and I walked in, I was like, what are you guys making? Let's do something different. I'm gonna make White Castle stuffing. They said, there's no way we're gonna eat that. So what I did is I did what I always do. I did what I wanted, and I made White Castle stuffing. And let me tell you something, everybody loved it. So today I'm gonna walk you through how we're gonna make White Castle stuffing recipe, and it's super, super easy. Now, I like to lay all my ingredients out ahead of time. It makes it really easy, and it's easier to get this dish done faster. So first thing I do is I start heating up the half stick of butter, and you wanna make sure you have a big skillet because you're gonna be putting a lot of ingredients into here. Don't worry about it. This half stick of butter is gonna be healthy for you. There's really not a ton of ingredients of what you need to make this dish. You need 1 large white onion, a half a head of celery, 1 pound of white mushrooms, a cup of chicken stock, a cup of cheddar cheese, 28 White Castle's hamburgers with no pickles, no cheese, and you have your spices. Your spices consist of 1 tablespoon of paprika, a 1/4 spoon of nutmeg, a 1/4 spoon of fresh sage, and then salt and pepper to taste. So we're gonna saute all the vegetables, and it's important to make sure that these get nice and brown. I like to add them one at a time. I think it's easier. And I always add the mushrooms last because they cook faster than the others. Now this looks like a lot, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna cook this down. So while the vegetables take about 5 minutes to cook down, what I do next is then work on the good old sliders. I don't know about you, I feel like I'm going on vacation when I'm opening this thing up, you know? Whew. Now, if you've never had a White Castle slider before, the hardest part of making this dish is not just taking one of these things and just shoving them in your mouth. You gotta have a little bit of self-control. I know it's the holiday season, you wanna do it, but you can't. Now, every now and then, you're gonna have mistakes made. Look at this. These guys were supposed to give me no pickles. They gave us some pickles. No problem. We can pivot. Just make sure you pull those bad boys off when you do it. And all you're gonna do, you're gonna get a little dirty here, okay? You're gonna cut these things up with your hands, just finally tear them apart. Now, in a traditional stuffing, you typically are gonna have meat and bread, right? So in the White Castle stuffing, all you're doing is taking the meat and bread, but it's in a different form. And this is great because the meat is so soft. And that's one thing of why I think White Castle stuffing is such a hit, is because it's kind of like already done. The meat's already kind of seasoned great. And it gives you that kind of phenomenal home taste when it's all cooked. I don't know about you, but I like to have 1, 2, or maybe 10 drinks on Thanksgiving. And this kind of helps soak up that alcohol a little bit when you kind of sit down, and let's face it, when you've had a bit too many, a good White Castle slider never hurts either. Well, this is the hardest part. Also, this is the crappiest spatula I have, but I don't know what it is, I just love it. I love the way it works. It kind of fits in my hand kind of really nice. It was probably like $1. I spent all this money on all these expensive spatulas and cookware, and like, this is still my favorite one. So 2 burgers are left in here. Oh, fuck it, let's put them all in there. This is always what I call the White Castle's graveyard. You kind of look at it and you get depressed for a minute saying like, we're about to eat 28 White Castle sliders. We've now made it to our destination. So the luggage is done. Now it's spice time, where we're gonna take the paprika, nutmeg, salt, pepper, and sage, and we're gonna put it into the vegetable mix. So there's no trick to this. Just empty it all in there. And I like to add it all at once. And there's the easiest way to know when the burgers are ready to be added, and that's just a smell test. Once you can really smell the sage is kind of mixed in with it, that's when you know the spices have made its way into the little concoction we're making here. Just greasing the pan. All right, now you can really smell this. And all I do is I pour this concoction right on top of the burgers. And you gotta be careful on this. You don't wanna lose any of this precious material you just spent all this time cooking. So then all we're gonna do is just simply try our best without spilling any to kind of move this around, which is not that difficult because the burgers themselves are actually so soft that the minute the heat of the other stuff hits it, it makes it easier to kind of move around. You got 28 burgers in here. You got to make sure you spread the love around a little bit. And then once you're done kind of mixing this together, you're going to pour it into a greased pan. And this will kind of help you spread it around a little bit too, so the areas that I see haven't reached yet kind of get reached. And I kind of spread this. So you can take the hot chicken stock, and all you're going to do is you're going to drizzle it evenly over the top. So then just try to spread that out, even this out a little bit, just like that. And then I put on a little something not everybody likes to do, which is a little cheddar cheese. Now, not everybody likes cheese on their stuffing. Personally, everybody in our family prefers it. We've made it without it. We've made it with it. This is an optional step, but for us, we're gonna add that cheddar on there. And this is what it looks like before we pop in the oven. We're gonna have the oven on at 350 and bake it for 20 minutes, and then it's done. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Does that not look like Thanksgiving? I mean, come on. So of course, we gotta take a little bite here. Oh. Look at that. Is that not a perfect bite right there? Huh. It literally tastes like a Thanksgiving feast in your mouth because you get those burgers hit you in the face, but when you have that sage and paprika and nutmeg in there, it really gives it that overall Thanksgiving taste, and it's not, you would think the White Castle's overbears it. It's almost like you can't even taste it. I think that chicken broth really kind of makes it a little bit more moist. That is hands down the greatest dish, and if you want to be the king of Thanksgiving, I promise you, make White Castle stuffing, make it for your family, even though they're gonna say they don't want it, show it to them, have them eat it, and then ask them, is this not the best side of Turkey Day?
Happy birthday, yellow cake for another trip around the sun, because